any key. So I could basically fall on this thing and it would get started.
Yeah, but don't, okay?
Okay, so 25 years ago, just knowing how to use a computer could get you a job. Typing, sending emails, throwing together a basic spreadsheet. That was enough to put you ahead of people who just hadn't caught up yet. Now, most employers barely even bother listing computer literacy anymore. It isn't treated like a special skill. It's just assumed you have it, like knowing how to read. And nobody sent out a memo when that shift happened. It just happened. One day, people simply expected you to already know. I keep wondering if we're watching the same thing play out with AI right now. And I don't mean the whole robots are coming for your job debate we've all heard 1,000 times. I mean something much quieter than that. The people who learn how to work with this stuff are quietly going to pull ahead of the people who don't. Not because they became AI engineers, just because they learn how to use the tool properly.
In artificial intelligence as a science, we talk about the use of computers to process symbolic knowledge using logical inference methods, symbolic inference methods.
Here's the thing. When people hear AI literacy, they immediately think coding. Like you need to become some kind of engineer for it to count. But after messing around with these tools for a while, I don't think that's it. I think it's much more practical than that. It's knowing what the thing is actually good at, where it falls apart, how to give it enough direction that it doesn't hand you garbage, and how to catch it when it sounds completely confident and is still dead wrong. And probably the biggest one, knowing when your own judgment matters more than whatever it just told you. Think of it less like learning to build a car and more like learning to drive one. Most people can't pop the hood and fix an engine, but they know how to get where they're going, and they know when something feels off. That's really what AI literacy looks like. And before long, that basic level of judgment might not feel optional anymore. What actually caught me off guard was how quickly this started becoming useful outside of tech. A teacher can use it to rework a lesson plan or explain the same concept 5 different ways instead of burning a whole evening rewriting slides. A small business owner can generate marketing ideas, draft emails, or spin up basic content, things they might otherwise need extra time, help, or money to produce. A researcher can use it to sort through a stack of long reports much faster than before. Students are already leaning on it to break down stuff that used to take them hours, or to see a problem explained from an angle they might not have considered yet. And none of these people need to know a thing about how the model was trained. They just need to know how to use it well. That's when it stopped feeling like just a tech thing to me and started feeling like a workforce skill. Here's what really sticks with me though. If this becomes a normal workplace skill, a gap starts opening up. And it isn't the gap people usually imagine, programmers on one side and everyone else on the other. It's between the people who learn how to use these tools well and the people who never bothered. Not because it makes anyone smarter, it just frees up time. Less grinding through repetitive work, more time for actual thinking and problem solving. Someone who's comfortable with it just gets more done. Not because they're working harder, but because less of their day gets swallowed by the slow stuff. We've seen this movie before. The people who got comfortable with computers and then the internet kept finding opportunities that were harder for everyone else to reach. And eventually, it stopped being an advantage at all. It became the baseline, something you were simply expected to already know how to do. Now, I want to be honest about the limits here too. Knowing how to use AI doesn't magically make you smarter or more capable. If someone's got bad judgment, AI isn't going to fix that for them. The same way spell check never turned anyone into a great writer. The real value is still coming from you, your judgment, your experience, your taste. AI just helps you get from idea in my head to something I can actually use a little faster. So, no, it's not magic. but it's becoming another layer on top of whatever skills you already bring to the table. Big technology shifts rarely show up with a press release. They just quietly become part of how everyone works. Nobody announced that email was now expected at work. Nobody sent a memo saying everyone needed to understand smartphones. It just became true, and people caught up. I think AI literacy ends up going the same route. And here's the thing. The people who get in early won't be smarter than anyone else. They'll just have had more reps figuring out what these tools are actually good at and where they fall flat. Honestly, I don't think will AI replace people is the interesting question anymore. We've beaten that one to death. The question I actually care about is this. Do the people who learn how to work with AI end up with a real edge over the people who never bother? Computers reset what employers expected. The internet blew open what one person could pull off on their own. Smartphones changed how we worked almost everywhere. Every one of those quietly raised the floor a little higher. I don't think AI is breaking that pattern. I think it's just next in line. And maybe the real story here isn't AI replacing anyone. Maybe it's just quietly redefining what capable looks like. If that's true, the move isn't waiting around for everyone else to catch up. It's getting comfortable now, while the bar is still being set. Technology doesn't just give us new tools. Over time, it changes what we consider a valuable skill in the first place. If you're into thinking about where technology is headed and what it means for how we live and work, consider subscribing. Every week, we cut through the headlines and try to make sense of what actually matters. This is Midnight Deep Tech. I'll catch you in the next one.